when the oysters are large enough, implantation can begin. For cultured pearls, implantation is the most important step. When a nucleus is implanted, the oyster sees it as an irritant and reacts by building protective layers of nacre around it. This becomes the pearl. Harry is demonstrating where the nucleus is implanted on an opened oyster.
Terus yang ini inti namanya. Jadi sebelum masukkan ini terbuat dari kulit kerangnya.
He tears the oyster's gonads and injects the nucleus in the middle. He then adds SIBO under the nucleus. SIBO is a mantle tissue cut from another oyster that surrounds the implanted nucleus. It's essential to the pearl quality, and without it, the oyster won't produce any pearls at all. Harry is the only person Afdol trusts with this step. That's because the nuclei don't come cheap. Mahmoud buys the nuclei from Japan, and their cost, in addition to import taxes, takes 20% of his profits. And he says getting import permits for these nuclei is difficult, preventing him from buying enough to expand his business. After the nucleus is implanted, special attention is paid to how the nacre grows around it to avoid a misshapen pearl. They're working towards a large, almost perfectly round pearl. Workers invert the oysters and put them in their protective nets to bring back to sea. The South Sea pearl's unique, soft, satiny luster and thick nacre are a result of the warm waters it grows in. And a thick nacre means a large pearl. Harry says they must flip them regularly so the nacre grows evenly.
Jadi itu tidak boleh terlewatkan dia. Selama 40 hari itu ada schedule-nya, kita bikin schedule untuk 3 hari. 1 minggu setelah suntik, kita biarkan setelah lubang yang kita robek itu nutup, baru kita bolak-balik.
After 40 days, workers remove the oysters from the sea and clean them weekly. Harry checks the implanted oysters monthly to see how the pearl is developing. This is done for up to 2 years, before the first pearl can be harvested.
Untuk 3 tahun pertama itu minimal size-nya dari 0,9 atau 0,8 gram atau bisa dikatakan 7 sampai 11 mm. Itu tahap yang pertama, 3 tahun pertama. Itu bijinya itu 1,3 gram lah, minimal 0,8 lah ya.
Harry implants the same oyster 2 more times. Each time, the pearl Afdol harvests is bigger. By the 3rd harvest, the pearl can reach over 20 millimeters in diameter and over 8 grams in weight. But as much as pearl farmers like Mahmoud invest in the intense care needed to raise the oysters, the outcome is never guaranteed. Mahmoud says only 20% of the oysters that survive make the most valuable kind of pearl, almost perfectly round, lustrous and large. Mahmoud grades the pearls based on size, luster, shape and colour. The larger, rounder, shinier, minimally blemished pearls get the highest grade. That can be AAA or quadruple A, depending on the producer. Mahmoud then sells them to jewellers, like Rihanna Melia, who fashions the pearls into necklaces, earrings and rings. Rihanna seeks out the highest grade she can find, but it isn't easy.
Sangat sulit ditemukan untuk yang bagus. Saya juga kadang-kadang dalam 1 hari itu, ini dalam sekarang ini saya minim stok material.
Lower grades are more available, but they're rougher, asymmetrical, and lack shine. And in the jewellery world, those are the least desirable. But even the highest grade pearls are not perfectly round. That's because even though they're farmed, they're still natural pearls. So finding a near perfect pearl, let alone enough to make a string necklace, is extremely rare. It took 9 years for Rihanna to find enough AAA grade pearls to make this necklace. She is finally able to sell it this year for $36,000 to a local buyer. That makes sourcing these expensive pearls worth it for Rihanna, who relies on farmers to continue to produce high quality pearls. But Mahmoud says pearl farmers need more support from the government, specifically around making nuclei readily available.
Kalau untuk itu sih memang iya, kami bisa tidak bisa pungkiri ya, bahwa untuk perizinan import ini yang agak sulit.
With this kind of support, pearl farmers say they could increase their production and make Indonesian South Sea pearls more readily available internationally.